Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Pat Flynn, and today I'm going to be answering your questions. And I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for nearly 13 years now, 13 years coming up, actually, which is a very long time. And I've learned a lot of things. I'm still learning a lot of things, but I like to pass on that information to you. And I'm excited because we're going to burn through as many questions as possible. Thank you for joining me on a Sunday. If you're here live watching with your friends, say hello. Thank you so much again. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag Team Replay in the comments section. We're also going to have a special start where I'm going to be doing a website, actually not a website, but a YouTube channel review for one of our very own Squeaks Game World. We're going to start off with that and continue our conversation from yesterday, and then we'll dive into the questions from there. So thanks again for joining me. Welcome in. Let's have some fun.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
All right, welcome in. Thank you. We got Brandon in the house, Elton, Dawn, Tina. Squeaks is actually here, which is pretty awesome. And he says, I'm a little nervous. Or haha, I'm nervous. You should be nervous because I'm gonna tear you apart. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. As you all know, I'm here to help and I'm here to serve. Hopefully that didn't scare you to death there. But I'm really excited actually because Squeaks Game World is a channel that I'm subscribed to, that I'm a big fan of, and I'm really excited to help you out. I was looking through it last night and there are some little things that we can do, but honestly, just to be straight up, you're doing a lot of things right. You are growing and you're doing very, very well. So all that being said, we're going to dive into that in just a minute. But thank you again for being here. This is day 357, which is kind of crazy. The fact that we've been going for that long is it's pretty incredible. So very grateful for that. But let's just dive in. For those of you who don't know, Squeaks, one of our very own, he has a YouTube channel here, Squeaks Game World, where he gives us a lot of great advice and helps us understand more about the market of a lot of collectibles, including and specifically, usually Pokemon, which is going to be really cool. So I'm excited to dive in, and I'm going to move my computer screen here. In fact, I want to play a video really quick just so I can make sure that we got the audio going here too. Let's play this. Oops, not that one. Let's play this one here from Squeaks. And I just want to make sure we're all good. Just going to listen for the audio.
Visit them at cgccards.com. They grade all Pokemon and Magic.
Okay, cool. I'm going to turn your volume up just a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to your channel and let's dive right in. So number one, you can tell that Squeaks has a very specific style, including the thumbnails and the fonts. Consistency is really, really good. This is really important when it comes to the design of your thumbnails, because what happens is you're more likely to be clicked on later if somebody watches one of your videos and gets used to how something looks in that way. If I were to, for example, go to youtube.com and go to one of my friends, Brian Dean, you can find out just what I'm talking about. He's the master of this. So Brian Dean from Backlinko. Now look at all his thumbnails. He's doing this very, very well. So Brian Dean, nearly 500,000 subscribers. Here are his thumbnails. Very, very similar looking thumbnails, very, very clear style, and that's helping him and favoring him for sure. He's changed up the colors. He used to be all green. He seems to be experimenting with different colors, but same format, same style, and Squeaks, you're doing the same thing. So I think that's really good. And that's good, again, because when your videos get recommended, whether through people's homepages when they see a new video up or when they watch somebody else's video and they see your style, that's good. But let's improve these thumbnails a little bit. There's a lot going on. They're pretty noisy. And the thing is, you got to realize that most people are probably looking at these on their phone, right? On their phone. And so if I were to go to my phone, for example, and check out some of your thumbnails, you're going to see that a lot of the things that you have on the thumbnails kind of get lost. So Squeaks Game World. And let's go into your videos from there. And there's just a lot of things going on. Now, that's not to say you need to change things. There's just a few things that I think that I lose that I want to have come out a little bit more. And what I'm talking about is you, Squeaks. You have this amazing personality. You have this voice in the space that's pretty unique, right? Not like your voice is unique, although It's a little bit unique, but you have a voice in the space that I think a lot of people can gravitate toward. And so you are building a personal brand here, even though it's Squeak's Game World. You are building a personal brand here. And so we want to see you more. I think that your face could come out a little bit more here. Your face gets lost with the dark jacket in the dark background. You might want to experiment with light background with a dark jacket, or a light jacket or a light shirt with a dark background. You can also benefit from having a little bit of a drop shadow behind you as well to have you stand out too, if that makes sense. So what I mean is having a little bit of a glow behind you or a glow in front of you, to have your face stand out. And it's interesting because I'm looking at some of your videos here from below. The ones where your face seems to like be a little bit bigger, where it seems to stand out, you seem to get more views. Let's actually go look at your array of videos up here and click on videos. And I'm going to see which ones seem to be the most popular as of late. Part of it also has to do with not just your thumbnail, obviously, but the topic. And the topic is really, really key. So you know the industry, you know what people are looking for. When people, I can tell that your price drops videos are doing really well, or these ones where Pokemon cards will crash. Don't get scammed. That's another one. Let's see. Anything that relates specifically to what one of your viewers is likely looking for. Anything that relates to the industry, Pokemon market, seems to be going very, very well. So those videos are sort of your bread and butter, and I would continue to experiment with videos like that. You could also check out your analytics to see which videos seem to be like this one. Like, let's look at this video here. Does Pokemon care about scalpers? Like, how does that relate to me? It doesn't. It's like, okay, so the Pokemon card company, do they care? Like, how does this relate to me? Maybe if the title was something like, Pokemon doesn't care about you, or do they, right? Now this relates to me, but this video, this title, does Pokemon company care about scalpers, doesn't really, I'm not quite sure. Plus, this is one of your longer videos, so I think the title and the video length probably isn't doing yourself a favor. I've noticed that you haven't published any of your longer videos in a while, because I think, what is it? You were putting them on a different channel? I'm not quite sure. You and Radar haven't done anything in a while, but okay, let's see. What other videos stand out here? Yeah, actually, these ones here with the super crazy backgrounds, this is where your face isn't on it, or you have too many faces on it. It just doesn't seem to speak as well as these darker ones. I like the newer style here where you have the cat, and that's very much your style. With that is, I think, a version of your own cat, which is pretty cool. So let's keep going here. I want to go into your videos now. Actually, let's go into your artwork. I also noticed that you didn't have a welcome video, and that's totally fine. If you go to your homepage, you do see this "What am I buying" video, which is really cool, and I think that can help you get more subscribers, which is really cool. But what you could do is take any recent video that you have that's been giving you a lot of subscribers and popping it up there as your welcome video. You don't necessarily have to create a welcome video for the channel. I don't. I have my most popular videos there because people will come here and find it and then get intrigued by a video that obviously is working for others and then want to come in and subscribe too. The other thing is, okay, you're doing the playlist really well. I think you could benefit from having more playlists for sure. I think you may even have multiple playlists, but you don't display them on your home area. So graded card returns, why isn't that on the home area, for example, as a specific playlist? I only see popular uploads, which is always good to have, breaking it down, and market watch. Let's have more, because you might find that people can come down and they might find one type of video more useful than another. I would definitely experiment with popping your face out a little bit more in your upcoming videos and see what that does for at least impressions. And that's what you want to look at when it comes to your videos. That's the click and stick strategy, right, Squeaks? The click is the title and thumbnail. Hopefully you can see which videos have a higher click-through rate and which videos have a lower click-through rate. We on Deep Pocket Monster are going super deep on that. Like, literally, we are like, okay, how is the impression rate going already in this video compared to another? If it's not doing very well, we switch the thumbnail or we switch the title to try to figure out where we can fit that title in the thumbnail so we get a higher click-through rate. And that's really, really important. That's something that the thumbnail and title alone are doing that you get almost data from immediately. You get it within the first 3 hours of launching your video. Your artwork here is pretty cool. You want to be the master. I'll help you save money while you do it. I think that you could go a little bit deeper with talking about collectibles, or you want to be a master, yes, but if you could get maybe a little bit more specific in terms of, okay, well, what am I going to get here? That could at least intrigue people a little bit more. I love the artwork. It's very much part of your video, part of you. But a little bit of words, I think that could go. Like I would put Squeaks Game World up a little bit and have a little bit more room for text. Insider market news about Pokemon and other collectibles, so that you can be the master and save money too, or something like that, right? I think that could go a long way. Other than that, again, I'm getting a little picky here because you're doing a great job. You seem to be one of the first to always talk about what's happening in the industry, and that's a very difficult thing to do. So that's your superpower, I feel. You have this insider knowledge that a lot of people don't have or haven't even thought about yet. It's already been very useful for me, and I think that's really great. Let's see here. Let's go to one of your videos. And actually, there's a couple things. I know you have this membership now, which is really cool. I don't know if any of you who are watching this know this, but if you have a membership on your channel, which you unlock at a certain point, you can have videos that are for members only, and they are shown to people who aren't members. And here, look what it says. This video is available to this channel's members only level. Squeak Squad Silver, join this channel to get access, and people can join from here, which is really cool. I'm wondering if I could see comments as well. No, I can't see comments. Okay. I want to click on join just to see how you intrigue me, because I know that's going to be an important part of what's happening here, right? Join this channel, get access to membership perks. I believe that you can also have a video when people come here. That might be useful for you if this is important to you, Squeaks, to have a video to sort of intrigue people to want to come in, which is really cool. So emojis, emotes, these are really cute. More about perks. Yeah, it's a little messy, and this isn't really your, you don't really have a lot of control here in terms of what people get, right? But I think that if you had a video, this could potentially explain a little bit more. Anybody who comes here is probably interested, but it's not a ton of like room to work with. So I think that what you could do is potentially start sharing some of the maybe some clips from your membership only videos, or perhaps some comments from members in your actual videos every once in a while. Not have it be the center of attention, but just maybe within the video be like, oh, this is from one of our members who commented on a previous video that's for members only. I wanted to bring it to light to you so that you can see. And by the way, if you want to become a member, you can click the join button below. If you're on mobile, click a button inside the video. So speaking of video, I want to watch one of your videos really quick. And I want to go into the comments, because if you are indeed focusing on having memberships come in, let's see, are you helping people become a member? Join the Squeak Squad membership club. Okay, cool. This is good. You're putting the link in the description for people who don't get access to that join button, which we see right here. And that's really key, because people on mobile don't see the join button currently. However, we need to explain a little bit about the membership club. We can't just go join the membership and just kind of rely on people to want to go there. A quick little thing about what people can get access to, insider knowledge, what am I buying, and more. Click here to join the membership club. And then, of course, now it'll take me to the same area where people can just learn about what's going on, right? Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's go back to the video. Let's look for the hook, and then we'll finish up in about 5 minutes, and we'll go from there. And Squeaks, I'd love to help you out even more. Again, you're doing a lot of things right. You're creating some culture within your audience. You have a very specific way of starting your videos. You have a really cool way of addressing your people. And it's just really smart. I think I can tell that you're experimenting with things, your whiteboard videos, you're experimenting with different ways to hold people's attention, your hooks, and why people should stick around to the end. It works on me. So just keep doing that and lean into that even more. Really get specific with your analytics. Look at your retention rates. See which parts of videos people seem to keep dropping off at, and stop doing that. And parts of the video where you can see people are coming back to watch, which are the spikes, do more of that. Let's click play and see what happens. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let me close my other window. I think it's because I'm streaming. And let's see if we can at least watch the start of this video.
You can visit them at cgccards.com. They grade all
Okay, you have sponsors on your videos as well, which is really cool. Okay, I'm going to let this play from the beginning so we can get the hook in. Congrats on the sponsorships, by the way. That's
Welcome
super
back,
huge.
Squeak.
Okay, there we go. So I love that sort of what's up, everybody. That's sort of like bring in, bring out type of thing. There's another creator who's in the music space who does that very well. He even puts some sound effects to it. And you got to be careful with sound effects, but one thing he does is like, hey, what's up, crew? And he just does a quick high five like that. I'm not saying you need to add a sound effect, but just verifying that that little thing that is yours, the like zoom in and zoom out thing, that's you. That becomes very much your style. Like keep doing that. That just becomes like, for people who are new, like that doesn't matter, but it doesn't bother them. But people who watch every single one of your videos, that starts to kind of like become the culture of what you're creating in the comment section and from your viewers. And I like that really, really well.
Squad, today I've got an exciting market recap video for you guys, specifically going back to that PWCC block that happened on Pokemon Day.
Okay, one thing that I've noticed in your videos, Squeaks, and this is really important, is you talk about you guys a lot when you're referencing the viewers. And this is a very, very common thing to do. It actually took me years to realize this. But when you start to change the language from you guys or hey, everybody or whatever to you, the viewer, because people aren't in a room watching this all together. They're watching this probably in their office or on the go on their phone in a very personal sort of manner. And so it's really important to address these people sort of as individuals, right? And I think that if you said just kind of like how I'm talking to you right now, it's still helpful for everybody. But, and I'm not saying address people specifically by name, but just using the word you instead of you guys goes a very long way to helping people connect in a more subconscious manner with you. So try using that kind of language. I think that would be really, really interesting and could go a very long way in helping you connect with your audience a little bit more. So instead of, hey, you guys, we got a really interesting market update for you today, specifically from PWCC's latest auction, you could say something like, hey, did you catch the latest PWCC auction? If you did or you didn't, I have a really interesting market update for you that's going to help you understand what's going on so that over time you can see and notice patterns like I do and learn how to save money for yourself so you can buy more in your collection. Or, I'm maybe doing it too much, but using the word you can go a very, very, very long way. Let's keep going.
Kept the really, really high-end stuff that happened in that block, but I think there's a lot of really interesting talking points, specifically around English cards and English modern cards.
Okay, another thing, you often recommend or reference older videos, which is totally fantastic. I don't know if you link to them in the information area here. Finally getting Pokemons are getting. So I don't know where you reference it in the video, but there could be multiple points where you put a card in. You just referenced you going over these PWCC lots earlier, and that could be a point where it comes in up top so that it'll remind people that you did speak about this. You can't assume that people did watch that, though. This is a common mistake that you're not making, but I notice a lot of people make, who, when they start a video, they go, hey guys, in my last video, I talked about this. Or they might say, okay, so a couple months ago, I did this, and I just kind of wanted to do an update for you about that. And it's okay to do videos like that, but when you don't go into what we learned from before, or if you don't reference sort of like why that's important, then why even mention it, right? Let's just get right into it and talk about the video as a whole versus how it like, yes, is a part 2, but then like isn't as valuable seemingly anymore because you referenced an older one. So just something to look out for.
And so I want to bring some of those to you today because I haven't really heard anyone talking about them.
Sorry.
I mean, Charizard Modern seems like it's kind of imploding, and there's a little delivery mouse that's just going to town right now. So I want to cover all that for you today. And
your set's good, your sound is perfect, you're one of the better audio you're just audio, you're so audio-tastic in your videos. It's really awesome. You're really easy to listen to, and I think and I love that. It would be interesting to see what would happen. I'm not saying you do this, but if you took your audio and you just made it an audio podcast, a lot of the stuff that you do shared doesn't need to be seen visually. It could be over time. I know you're busy already and you are cranking these out and you have a business and all these other things to run and you're shipping, and that's a lot. But over time, it might be worth sort of experimenting with just ripping out the audio and putting it on an audio podcast, because the information is so great and you could build another audience there if you're looking to grow elsewhere.
More, but
Just
not
an
before
idea.
thanking today's video sponsor, CGC Trading Cards. You can visit them at cgccards.com.
Now, I'm curious to know if in your videos you see a drop when you mention CGC. If you don't, that's fine. But oftentimes what happens is when you have a sponsor mentioned, you might find that just like triggers people to want to leave. And that's something you got to definitely worry about. Now, you could potentially try to see how you might be able to have a little bit less of a segment where you're mentioning a sponsor and just having it be more organically put in to the video. This is something that also, I don't know if CGC is asking you to put your ad reel in the beginning of your videos or not, but you could benefit and they could benefit by having actually more integration and more organically putting it into the video. There were some videos before where you actually did have some CGC stuff talked about, and I could have imagined you integrating those ad reads like just into the content itself, where it wouldn't necessarily be a, hey guys, let's take a pause to talk about this, but it's just like integrated in there, and you can mention that they're a sponsor and it kind of just flows. That could be something worth experimenting with if you're noticing that there's a huge drop at that point, right? Brandon says, from a fan's perspective, he's very informative and keeps me intrigued by listening. I know I'm going to get scoop on what's happening. Yeah, in this video in particular, I didn't feel as much of a hook, yet it was still able to keep people in because it was so about what is happening. However, in some of your other videos, you nail that hook really, really well. Hey, like there was one video where you mentioned some card with a ridiculous price and you didn't mention it up front, and it held me all the way through. You do a very, very good job at that. According to FTC and YouTube, it has to be in the first 30 seconds, which makes it kind of hard to really work around it. Any suggestions? According to the FTC and YouTube, it has to be in the first 30 seconds. Okay. Are you noticing a drop off? I'm curious. If not, then we don't even need to worry about it or change anything. But if that's the way it has to be, then that's the way it has to be. Okay, let's go to here.
About 2 per box, and then there were 3 more released in Shining Page just recently, but we're seeing the original 6 actually start hitting the market graded now. Now, many of the ones that were in this block were PSA graded ones. And
okay, one thing I do notice, and I have noticed this, is you get so passionate about what you're doing. This isn't a bad thing, it's just I've noticed it. And there are things that you can do to combat this, but you do sway back and forth in your seat. And that could be bad for audio purposes, because if you swing back and forth too much, you can tell it kind of affects the audio a little bit. And then finally, it's not distracting. I just notice it, like the back and forth, and you're talking about it quite a bit like this. So during moments like this, where you are talking for maybe more than a minute about a certain thing, these visuals can be used as tools to not cover it up. I don't want to say that, because again, it's not a bad thing. It's just something I noticed. But you could have more what I call pattern interrupts, where you have different versions of this image. Instead of just slapping an image on, although of course that's a little bit easier, you could have maybe after a few seconds it goes full screen, and then it shows like the different ones, and then it maybe sort of like zooms in a little bit. Like, just experiment with that. I know that you love to experiment to see how that might hold people a little bit longer. I want to go finally to the end, just to kind of see how you finish off.
So with that, that's pretty much what I've got for you guys in this episode of Market Watch Recap.
Now, I imagine at this moment, Squeaks, and you can verify this, and again, we can talk later, because I do want to get some questions in for everybody. But this, I would imagine at the 19-minute mark in this video, people drop off like a cliff. And this is something that happens because you've signaled that the video's over. There's no real reason to continue to watch. So what you could do is try to figure out a way to, in your videos, hold people to the very, very end. And as the video's ending, they don't even know it's ending, and then your end screens come up, right? So this will hold your retention rate longer. It'll be a higher percentage of people who watch all the way through, which will then signal to YouTube that just because the numbers are higher, it's all math-based, it's all algorithm-based. People will be shown this video more if you don't have that part at the end where people drop off. So try to have a way where people don't even know it's ending, right? So if I have like a top 5 tips post, for example, or top 5 tips YouTube, I usually start with 5 and then go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to hold people to the end. And then, but I don't go, okay, guys, and finally. I just kind of go in number 1, boom, and then people don't even know the video's ending and it's already ending, right? So I might mention the subscription thing and the like thing earlier or before I even get to number one. But then I just try to do what I can to keep that retention graph as flat as possible. And when we go, okay, guys, and that's the end of the video, but we still talk for 30 seconds, you're going to see a huge drop off at that point, and that won't bode well for long term with that video, or at least it won't give you the best chance to be found. So let's see what you talk about for the last 20 seconds here.
Capping the PWCC market. Thank you all so much. Let me know if there's anything specific that you thought I should have covered that I didn't, that maybe I can cover next time and add it into the recap of the foreign market, as well as if there's something that you would like to see covered from that past PWCC, specifically in foreign cards. I've already got Coral Mute on my list, but if there's others that you guys would like to see, please let me know. And with that being said, I'll see y'all next time.
Okay, disclaimer, important for anything financial, and that's totally fine. But again, people are probably gone by this point and not hearing your call to action. You can include those call to actions in the middle of your video. Like, you know, tip number 3 or halfway through the thing and say, hey, by the way, if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. It's an easy way to help the video be found by others so that we can all be better informed, like trying to give a reason. Sometimes it's a little forced, it seems, but sometimes we need to give people a reason to click. Also, I would say that this is the last thing I'll say, and this is for everybody. If you're getting close to like a subscriber mark, have people feel like they're in this together with you to try and help you get there, right? You might even try, hey, we're going to try for 200 likes in this video, hit that like button. And we're so close to 10,000 subscribers. I have a fun little Q&A I'm going to do. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you haven't already, because we are so close to 10,000. Like, it's totally cool to do that. In fact, I had a consultation with somebody who works with Mr. Beast, and he said to do that. So I'm just passing that on to you. If you get close to a specific subscriber number, have people feel like they're in this with you, and it becomes a part of the timeline, and they can start, you know, helping and supporting you, because now they're they have this goal with you, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, again, Bill's like, this is the longest review ever. There was a lot of helpful things in here because you're doing so many things well. This is a little bit more advanced stuff, and a lot of the reviews we do here are quite the same. So this was a little bit different. And plus, Squeaks, you've given me so much value I wanted to give back to you here, and I knew it would help other people too. So thank you for for allowing me and the chat here to kind of help you out. So yeah. Shonda says, perhaps just ask the question without saying that's all I have for you. Yeah, try to avoid that kind of language at all. Try to say before we go. Try not to say before we go. Try not to say, you know, as we wrap up here or anything. Like, don't signal. Don't signal at all. Right? Cool. Wow, there's so much to think about. Holy moly, thank you so much. You're welcome. Yeah, it is a lot. But again, this is stuff that you pick up over time. You're doing a really, really good job to see your growth. And I remember Radar saying this too. Like, it's actually, you know, going quite well. One thing that you can do to kind of like encourage you or get yourself excited is if you go to socialblade.com. I don't know if any of you have gone to socialblade.com, but you can look up Squeaks Game World. Uh-oh, I think I misspelled it. But you're able to look at some analytics and get some future projections here, which is pretty cool. Don't worry about the grade. You'll see the grades are always bad. B-. You're actually doing better than grade-wise. You're doing better than Deep Pocket Monster. But you can come in here and see how you're doing based on subscriptions. So sometimes it's hard to see in YouTube Analytics, a lot of this stuff. But when you see like video views, for whatever reason, you had a ton of video views on Saturday. Saturday last weekend, however, you did very poorly. You seem to do well on Monday and Tuesdays every week. I don't know if that's based on your schedule. And then if you go to, let's see, future projections, which is for whatever reason not showing up right now. Future projections, you can kind of get an understanding of how like well you're doing. If I go to subscriber milestone, I come here maybe like once a month just to see how it changes. I don't look at this daily, but it says that you'll probably hit 10,000 subscribers in about 38 days, 25,000 by midsummer, which is really cool based on your current trajectory. And that's just kind of interesting to know about. This is how I knew that we were going to hit 25,000 on Deep Pocket Monster probably within the next couple weeks. And that way I can plan specifically in my head a giveaway and like those kinds of things too. So cool. Awesome. Even if you say it, edit it out. That's right, Mr. Camera Junkie. Cool. So, chat, thank you for that. That was a good half hour's worth of content there to help out, and I hope that was helpful for you. So let's answer some questions. Let's just rapid fire. I'm going to put on Spotify, and we will see what we can do to like just put on some vibes and go from there. Was that loud? Let's see. Oh, you can't even hear it. Okay, let's go system preferences. Sound. It should be coming out of the Rodecaster Pro. There we go. All right, so if you have a question, type in the word question in all caps, or if you remember here, type in the, or use the question mark emoji, and I'd be happy to answer whatever questions you might have. That work really, really well, that are very, very important video per video. But when you look at all of them together, like it's like I don't necessarily look at my average watch time. I look at my average retention time, because that's something that I want to see how many people are going through the video. Not like if I do a YouTube short, my video view is going to be like 45 seconds, but that's still a 75% to a 90% retention rate. So you're right, Brandon. Cool. Question, where can the best tacos be found in San Diego? Hit me right at the heartstrings there. There are two places I love. Number one, Puesto. This is a higher end taco place near downtown, or it's in downtown. And they have, it's like, this isn't like traditional tacos, but it's really good sort of gourmet tacos. So Puesto, downtown, very close to the airport, in fact. So if you literally just wanted to fly to get tacos, I would actually do that, because these tacos are so good. Thankfully, I live in the city. So, or I live in a suburb near the city. But they have a carne asada taco, where the cheese is actually sprinkled right on the grill, made crispy. So the cheese is like super crispy, and they use the best meat, and they just have a little bit of cilantro and onion and a lime drizzle on it. Oh, dude, so good, so good. But if you wanted to go like what we call here in San Diego, dirty Mexican, and that's actually a compliment. Like being a dirty Mexican place means it's like, just like, this is how you want it. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually not a great way to describe it. So I'm not going to say that anymore. But if you want like more traditional, yeah, I'm not going to use dirty. That's actually really bad. But it is like those hole-in-the-wall places. There's one called Corixan, Cotixan, and they have carne asada fries. I would go for the carne asada fries, not the tacos. But the tacos there are good too. Thank you. All right, questions. Are you doing anything for International Women's Day tomorrow? I don't have anything planned except to reach out to specific women in my life, most likely, and thank them for what they do. I think that is every day for me, but I would love to see what I could do. Tina, if you have any thoughts on question, would TubeSift.com be useful for YouTube advertising purposes? Any comment? I have not used or seen TubeSift. YouTube advertising is great, though. I think it's very underutilized. I think if you have a product and an end game with a specific ad spend, then that's great. Where I worry about with ads is like, let's just get more people to listen to my podcast. Let's get more people to watch my video. Okay, those numbers may go up, but then what? Like, how are we tracking whether or not this is actually providing an ROI? If you can track an ROI for anything that you're doing, use YouTube ads if possible, because there's a very, very higher barrier to entry because it's video, and there's less people, less competition. And so I think that could work really well. I heard of a friend who was getting 15 cents per lead at one point, which is just insane, especially when you consider that Facebook and Google can be in the several dollars, if not tens of dollars per lead at certain moments, which is really interesting. Question from Ortho Eval. My YouTube channel is Evergreen Content, and some of it is old. Old camera, no mic, no lighting. I've upgraded since. Should I redo some of my old content and remove the old videos? I would not remove the old videos, because those are videos that are, number one, part of your history. And you look at Mr. Beast or MKBHD, they still have all their old videos on there, and they haven't removed them, and they're doing just fine. So it doesn't matter that you have your old videos on there specifically for like algorithm purposes. In fact, it's gonna likely bring more people in, and as your channel grows, those videos can grow too, and then bring people in and then have them see, wow, this is better. This is different. This is awesome. So that's number one. Number two, you can just redo those videos and have a better version of them. There's no reason you shouldn't do that. In fact, I've created several new versions of videos that have performed, and they keep seemingly to outperform each other. When you create a new version of that new video, go back to the old one and link to it. Link to it in the card, link to it in the end screen, link to it in the description so that people are driving from that older video in case they're like, oh, this is not good. Oh, there's a newer version. Cool, let's go here. And when you can show YouTube that you're helping people go from one video to another, that's another signal they use to go, oh, this is a good channel. Let's push it out to more people. I says, I don't use Canva, I use Photoshop, but I would just double click, use a blending option, or not a blending option, but I think it is a blending option to just put a drop shadow on yourself. Sandy says, what do you think of my shorts, trying to level up my game? I won't be able to look up the shorts right now, but shorts are really interesting. Hashtag shorts is what's required in the title and the description. And it's really weird because for those of us in the US at least, we don't have access to shorts like how other people do, where it is literally like TikTok on your YouTube app. We don't have that capability yet. It is coming, I think, in which case it'll be a lot easier to not just publish videos, but also to find them in that way where you can be found then on the what's called the YouTube Shorts shelf. That's the place where shorts are seen. Now, shorts are also seen on your regular feed, and it's weird because it is a little bit different than your normal video. It's in vertical, it's much shorter, 60 seconds or less, and you're not going to get a ton of views right up front, but what can happen is it can then find its way on the shelf and then explode. I know there's another YouTuber named Real Breaking Nate who has seen some incredible success using shorts to the tune of like 3 million, 2 million views on his videos, which is insane. And you kind of have to feel like you have to get lucky. I've noticed that I have been being pushed out on shorts a little bit. You can see that in your analytics as far as discovery for those videos. And it takes maybe a week or two for shorts to even be seen as a traffic source. And then things can go up from there, or that just like goes down. It's a very strange thing right now for sure. Question from Garrett. Have a podcast in Lego, but trying to figure out the best way to bring it to YouTube without filming my guests. So the best way to bring it to YouTube would be to take a clip from that longer podcast, because honestly, taking the long form, if you don't have really good video to go along with it, long form of just audio mostly is not going to perform very well. In fact, it might even detract from your YouTube channel. It might even hurt it. So what you could do is you can take a very specific clip from an episode. Maybe it's a 3 to 5 minute clip, and it's about a very specific thing. You build a video for that. It's all based on the title, and the thumbnail are based on that particular topic. Maybe it's within like the 30-minute mark of an episode. Doesn't matter. You pull that out, you put it into a video. You also put some B-roll with it. You have some visuals. Maybe you have some text popping up on the screen at certain moments if it's about something, and it becomes its own, like the podcast is now almost acting like a voiceover. And now what happens is, because it's a title and thumbnail that's about a specific thing, it's more likely to be found and bring people in. And what you can do is you can mention that in the description that it's a part of a larger whole and drive people to your audio podcast. You could even insert a video of yourself in the beginning, setting that up. You can even say, Garrett, you can be like, hey, it's Garrett here from the Lego Podcast. I wanted to play a little clip from you because this clip is about one of the most important things that you can do as a collector. It's how you store your Legos. So here's a clip with Chris Garrett, who is on the show, who is a Lego collector of over 30 years now. Here's how he does it. Boom, it goes to the audio clip. But then as he's talking about, I go to Target and I get these plastic bins. Okay, let's show a B-roll of going to Target, getting plastic bins, or finding a plastic bin on an iStock video place or something. That's how I would do it. Cool. Let's see. Question. I got into the DeLorean and looked at my business options a year from now, but I'm still a bit stuck. Any suggestions? So what did you do when you were in the DeLorean, Justin? Did you consider what your day was going to be like? If they all still seem like great options. I think I remember you asked a question a while back and you had like 3 business ideas or something, or we made up a scenario where you go into, timeline A, timeline B, timeline C, and then you go there and you kind of see what your day might be like, and that can help drive a decision in terms of A, B, or C. If you don't know what to do, here's what you need to do next. If they all have the same amount of like joy, if they all have the same amount of possibility, here's what you do. You do A, to the point where you've done the market research, you understand more about what's at that topic. So take the market map exercise in my book, Will It Fly, to help yourself figure out, okay, who's in this space? What is here? What is available? Who are the players? And where might I fit into this space, if at all? Then stop there. Then do that same exercise with B, and then do that same exercise with C. And you're going to be able to now compare with more information. Now, not about you and where you want to be, but now what's happening in the market and who's there. Maybe it's about the possibility of standing out. Now that you know what's in the crowd, you'll know how to stand out of that crowd, right? And so that's kind of where we can go from there. Question for content creation. Do you have any exercises for generating ideas? Yeah, number one, go to answerthepublic.com. That can help you find out what the questions people are asking and literally typing into Google and Quora and a whole bunch of other places about keywords that you're going for. Number two, go to popular blogs in the space and see what popular articles and posts that they're putting up about whatever the topic is. Use that as inspiration for content. Don't jack their content. Similarly, you can go to Amazon, look at books related to your topic, and go inside the cover and look inside to find the table of contents. When you find the table of contents, this is researched, this is proven topics that are important in that particular space. Use that again as inspiration. If you look up fly fishing, you might find like a whole bunch of chapters in a book, and one of those chapters is how to tie flies. Cool. Create a video that says, or a podcast or a blog post that says, top 5 ways to tie flies. How to tie flies for beginners. Top 10 fly tying mistakes. How to store your flies. How to tie a dry fly. How to tie a wet fly. Like, you just from that one chapter alone, you can get like multiple ideas, right? All right, let's keep going. Question, you run a lot of stuff, but also seem to have a great family work balance. Do you operate on a schedule? And if so, what do you use to manage it? My calendar is everything. My calendar is everything. Thank you for saying that, by the way. Number one, I have a lot of things moving, but I'm not the one moving them. You can do everything. You can get everything done. You just can't do everything. Does that make sense? There's a huge difference there. You can get everything you want done, but you can't do all of them. And so hiring a team or having some help can be great. Having some of that be done through software or management. And then also a lot of it has to do with what am I saying no to, or within these projects, what are the things that are going to move the levers the most? What's the highest leverage items? And then all that stuff gets poured into a calendar in terms of, you know, what am I doing and when, not down to the minute, but just time blocking. Okay, this 3-hour period on a Monday, I am podcasting because that's a high priority, high leverage item that I do. And I batch process, so I get maybe 2 to 5 podcast episodes done in one 3-hour period. And boom, I now have a whole month's worth of content, right? So that's kind of how I work that. And then Tuesdays, my filming day where I film things. So for a 6-hour period on Tuesdays, boom, I'm filming, I'm batch processing, I'm getting through as much as that as possible. And yes, I have included now Deep Pocket Monster stuff in there because I've now removed myself from that process a little bit, because now I'm no longer doing thumbnails, I'm no longer doing titles for SPI. I'm doing, I have just more room now because I've handed off a lot of that work. But the calendar is everything. I even put on the calendar when it's family time. And I know that might sound weird. It's like, wow, you don't have enough discipline to just like be with your family when you're not doing work. Yeah, I don't. So I have to, because I have an entrepreneurial style brain, because I think about business a lot. I have to have constraints. I have to have also not just time constraints, but a physical constraint. I physically cannot do the work I need to do if I'm not here in this office. So when it's time to get out of the office, I close the door. I don't lock it or have like a keypad that only allows me to go in at certain times. I'm not that undisciplined, but by stepping out physically, I can step out mentally, if that makes sense. Great question. Question from Miss Boyce. When one is planning to give away and start having swag merch for the brand, what is the legalistic, what is legally things we should consider first as I value integrity? Yeah, this is really interesting. A lot of people just integrity-wise don't want to sell anything because they don't want to sell out or they don't want to charge money for things. But when it comes to merch, especially, and things like that have your brand on it and that have maybe sayings that you have on it, you got to realize that people want to support you. Like, not everybody will. In fact, most people won't buy those things, but the ones who do are going to feel very proud of the fact that they're helping you out and they get to sport your swag. It's like a sports team. You know, you wear that cap because you favor that game, and it also allows you to connect with other community members too. I don't yet have swag on Deep Pocket Monster, but I've had swag on SPI, and people share support so much so that they often take pictures of themselves and share it, which is pretty cool. So I'm also getting people to share at the same time. So there's a lot of benefit that can happen from that. Legally, obviously, you don't want to sell anything that's not yours in terms of intellectual property, logos, sayings that perhaps are trademarked and things like that. In most cases, and again, I'm not a lawyer, but most people never have any issues with any of that stuff. But obviously, it just takes one person who catches something to then share it to blow up, and we don't want that to happen. So I think that if you wanted to really check yourself to make sure, you could find a professional who sort of understands what it is you're doing and just checks to see if there's any problems. I have a legal team who, if I'm creating something that I just have an ounce of, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, I literally will just like go to them and say, hey, can I do this? And they'll either say, yeah, you can or can't, or hey, yes, but, or whatever. But in most cases with swag and stuff, if you use, number one, a service like Teespring or Custom Ink or something, that helps you get rid of anything legal that you have to worry about in terms of like the product, in terms of like the material. Like I can imagine a case where you make your own t-shirts and then everybody who wears them all of a sudden has like green because of the stain like on their body. If you use one of these companies, that's not going to happen. Again, we like to think about all the worst case scenarios, but yeah, again, just use common sense. Don't take somebody else's IP and start selling it. Question from Dawn. I decided to upload my animated silent time-lapse video. I have a few. Would it be better to do a 1 week rather than all at once? Or 1 a week rather than all at once? Yes. If you can space things out, that's going to be much better. The thing is, if you publish too many videos, like I remember I had a video series on email marketing, and I came out with all of them on one day because I was just like, okay, finally, it was all done, and I think people need to see all of these things. Let's pop them all out there. I got so many people unsubscribing, number one, and YouTube was confused. They didn't know which video, because they're all kind of related to the same thing. It just had trouble figuring out like what goes where and like who, like keywords, like it was showing video 4 first and like video 1 wasn't being seen. It was kind of crazy. So start from the beginning and come out on a regular schedule. Maybe it's even once a day if you have a ton of them, but I think once a week to have yourself a nice backlog could be great. And what that does is you start to have this training on YouTube. Like you're kind of training YouTube, hey, I'm publishing these videos every week, and if you find that people like them, please send them out whenever they come out, and YouTube will do that job for you. Still make sure title, thumbnail, obviously, very important, and how you start those videos is really key too. Only child tricks. I have a lot of only child tricks. Let's see. Looking for the big question. There we go, from Sandy. I had another channel recommend my channel for a brand deal with Circuit Cutting Machine or Cricut Cutting Machine. I want to reach out to Cricut. I want to work with them. What would you suggest? I said, so you had another channel recommend your channel for a brand deal. Was this like in a video? They were just like, hey, you should check out Sandy's video, like, and you guys should probably work together. I don't know. What you can do is you can just reach out to them. You could reach out to them easily through something like Twitter or Instagram first, just to kind of like see if that'll initiate a conversation. And you can even just mention like, hey, this channel recommended that I reach out to you. Like, how might I be able to help you? I'd love to see how we can make this a win on both sides. And I would just start that conversation more naturally. I wouldn't necessarily create a formalized email and take that clip out and share it. Like, it might get to that, but I would start simple. It might be a lot easier than you think. If this were easy, what would it look like? You would send them a message, you start a conversation. I so understand what Pat's saying about scheduling in family time. My word of the year is balance, and I struggle to keep it. So important. This idea of balance is a myth. If you imagine, or perfect balance is a myth. If you imagine a scale completely equal on both sides, that's only at one moment of our entire spectrum. To fight for this the entire time, what if we're here? It's not perfect. What if we're here? It's not perfect. Well, that compared to this is much better. So I don't strive for perfect balance. If I strive for perfect balance, or anybody who I've seen strive for perfect balance, you always feel like you're not doing it right. So this is what is now called balancing. How do we make sure that we don't go too far to one side or the other? And knowing that there's going to be seasons where it's going to be more on this side and seasons where it's on this side, and just acknowledging that, knowing that, communicating with others about that, and providing ways for you to get back to the other side if it goes too far one to the other. Having checks and balances in place so other people, other systems can sort of alert you, if you will, if you're going too far to one side or the other. And having always something on the other side to kind of bring it back if needed. That's kind of how I imagine this to work. I'm getting the itch to go live on my other channel again. I have some cool ideas. I have this idea. Do I want to share it? No, I don't want to share it. I get so many ideas that I want to just share, but like one of my editors is like, you just tell everybody everything you're going to do. That's what I do. But you got to kind of leave the surprise. So I have a surprise for, we're coming up to 25,000 subscribers pretty soon here. We're going to cross 18,000 today, which is kind of insane. We were just at like 17,000 yesterday and 16,000 the day before. So when we hit 25,000, I might do this really fun break where there's a special twist to it. We'll see what happens. But it'll be a fun giveaway, I think, for those of you who are in the Pokemon space. Let's see. Question from Uncle Bill. Do you keep your head, how do you keep your head so still on camera while reading, as it makes it so that I think I'm feeling feed glitched? I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know exactly what you mean. Is it because I could go like this or like this? I have the questions right here, so I don't know. Is it really possible to make money online? 100% yes. Is it something that everybody can do? I think yes. Is it something that will happen to everybody, even if they try? No. Guaranteed no. Because there are people who either are too impatient, or who dive into it too quickly, or who just don't have the grit and perseverance needed to actually get to that point. Can you make money tomorrow if you start? Again, that's possible too. Highly unlikely. In fact, most people's overnight success stories has 10 years behind it, or a year and a half at least. I find that a year and a half is a good amount of time, that any project that I've started that has like, that is like a big business or something, like it's taken about a year and a half. So SwitchPod took about a year and a half from idea to like actually selling out on Kickstarter. With my lead architecture website, it took about a year and a half since the moment I started like creating that blog to the moment I started selling something and seeing like good income come in, about a year and a half. With Smart Passive Income, I started it and I started getting an audience, but it wasn't until about a year and a half later that I finally started to make some, decent money with it, as opposed to like, some change here and there. There have been some outliers, obviously. With my security guard training website, it only took 73 days. With Food Trucker, it only took about 3 months. With Deep Pocket Monster, it took 1 month. But I think those projects are a little bit faster because I've learned a lot and I can kind of go right to what is working sooner, which is why I continue to try to pass on these things to you so that you can get to that point sooner if you haven't already. Let's see, question from Justin. How much time do you give a business to be profitable? Thanks, Pat. I kind of just mentioned that, but I'm not saying that playing in the marching band probably trained Pat Flynn to keep his head straight. Dude, you have no idea how much training we had to stay perfectly still. And to look at a certain direction, to keep our trumpets and elbows up. Like so many push-ups if we didn't do it right. But question from Justin. How much time would you give a business to be profitable? Thanks, Pat. It's interesting because you think of businesses like Tesla. Tesla was not profitable for 7 years until it finally started to turn and make a profit. And now we're 5 quarters consistently making profit now, which is pretty crazy. And I love how I just naturally go, like, we are 5 quarters. It's like, that's how connected I am to that brand. I feel like it's partly mine. It actually is because I'm a shareholder, but a very, 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 very tiny percentage, obviously. That'd be crazy if I had like 25% of Tesla or something. Wow. That'd be crazy. Anyway. Let's see. So how much time... It's not a specific, number of days, but it's definitely not a month. It's definitely not 3 months. I think it depends, and it also, it's like, You could do no work and wait 10 years till something happens, or you can do a lot of work and wait a year until something happens, or you could do a lot of work and you can see profit, in a month. It's very difficult to answer that question, Justin, because it's not the same for everybody. I think that it is largely based on the amount of work you do versus your gut feeling versus, the market and what you're trying to do to create something different. I think that the real question is, how long do I wait until I pivot? And I think we should pivot all the time. We should be pivoting in a microwave. For example, I'm pivoting on every single YouTube video. I wanna pivot and pull even more levers. Not pivot like I'm gonna change my channel and exactly what I'm doing. That's a big pivot. That's a big adjustment. But I'm making adjustments all the time to try and hone in on that strategy that's gonna, just kind of go right into, okay, now I've got it. Now this is working. Even 5% of Tesla would be crazy. Yeah, it would be totally crazy. One of my tasks today was creating my monthly schedule to have a better balance. After this discussion, I feel like this is improved Squeak's live stream. Thank you, Pat. You're welcome. That's funny. But the thing is, like, what's really cool is when we talk about one person, we're often talking about several others. That's the one thing I think, Squeaks, that I haven't seen from you yet. Specific people, maybe members. This might be kind of cool to take one of your members and go, here was the member before, here's what we learned, here's now after. So introducing Jeff. Jeff is one of my members, and we got into a conversation in one of our chats, and I basically found out that he was doing this. And so we had a conversation, and based on these principles that we're talking about in this video today, here's where they're at now. And that would make me feel even more akin to your community, Squeaks, to go in there and to really feel like, because again, you're focusing on one person, cool. But that one person represents me and everybody else who's watching. And it makes me want to join even more. It shows me that you are, in fact, having that sounds bad. It shows me that you are, in fact, caring about the individuals in your audience, and it would make me want to be a member, too. I'm going to join, by the way, right after this, but because I want to see that video, honestly. But, oh, that's awesome. I own a Model 3, and I don't think I could ever go back. Oh, cool. I didn't know you were a Tesla owner. Bro, that's sick. Me, too. Model Y, actually. But yeah, this is super fans, right? And you have the book. I don't know if you've cracked it open yet or have gotten to the parts where you put a spotlight on your community. Here's a book that I would recommend that would probably, that you would just flourish with, Squeaks. Story Brand by Donald Miller. The idea of Story Brand by Donald Miller is understanding that you are not the hero of the story. Your customer, your viewer, your subscriber is the hero of the story. And when you feature more of those hero stories, people want to go to the place where they got guidance because other people want to be heroes too. And it's like you're creating a lot of Luke Skywalkers and Princess Leia's. Those are the heroes. But they learned from Yoda. You are the Yoda, right? And when you create these heroes, everybody will then recommend the same guide. I would highly recommend reading that. That would be, let me know in the chat if you've read Story Brand. Absolutely life-changing when it comes to the story. And one thing that I'm going to do on Deep Pocket Monster is pull out even more of these stories. I can't wait till we get to the point where, and we're already seeing it, just to give you some insight. My latest mystery box video, the YouTube ad revenue is already paid for half that. And I'm expecting that over time I can get to the point where the videos are paying for the product, essentially. And then I can do some really massive giveaways for people who are in need in hospitals and kids who are in more poor areas who don't even get access to food, let alone Pokemon cards. And we can do some fun things from there. And I think that featuring more of the hero story of the community is going to do really, really well. So yeah. Cool. Awesome. Just got gold nugget of each video, about 20. Thank you. Just bought it. Pat says, read it. Dude, yeah, it's so good. It is so good. That would be fun. That'd be really cool to sort of like see you analyze somebody's decisions and to recommend something and to, I know you did this a little bit with Randolph recently, but that was a different, that was not like a hero story. That was like this Lugia that was crazy, and then I know you got a little flack for that, for sort of going back on your word, but I think that shows leadership. That shows gusto, and I think you got all the things you need to succeed, and obviously it's already happening, Squeaks. I imagine your channel's going to get to, if I could guess, at least like 50K by the end of the year if you do it right. Probably more. So, cool. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much for today. I appreciate you, and that went by fast, but I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. What time are we starting tomorrow? Day 380 or 358. Let's look at the calendar. Tomorrow, we're going live at... Tomorrow, we're going live at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Pacific. So 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern is when we'll hang out tomorrow. Just to be clear, building a store brand, clarify your message, so customer... Yeah, that one. Thank you, Uncle Bill. And have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thanks for those of you who left comments on my recent video with my son. That was super cool and super fun. That was neat. I'm excited to bring the family and more to the channel too. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. Peace out. And as always, Team Flynn for the win.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Awesome. What am I doing? Jarvis says goodbye. Bye, everybody. He was just hanging out, sleeping under me. That was cool. All right, guys, take care. Thanks so much. Appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
Bruh.